Yo, welcome back to Finding with Friends. It's your boy, Brother Kaya. We're back again with another preview of UFC 324. We have Justin Gaethje taking on Paddy the Paddy Pimblett live this Sunday, the 25th of January, 2026. Oh my word, it's going to be a banger. It will be live at 4 a.m. South African time. That will be the live of the main card. It's also where we will be going live for a watch along for that fight card. So hope to see you all there. This fight card will take place at the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas. And so for today, I'll go through a nice preview and breakdown of some of these fights, but I'm not going to give a prediction. And the reason for that is because what we're bringing back this year is bringing back the installment of our episode called "If I Was a Betting Man." That's our segment. We realized going through all our analytics over last year that a lot of our audiences are often viewers that like to bet on fights. I'm sure you know who you are if you're tuning into Fighting with Friends. And so what we thought about it, even though when we were making money through bets as well last year, we were thinking, why not bring back the betting man segment, right? We dedicate the entire episode to us making picks, very fine, researched, detailed picks for the week's fight cards. That's UFC and one. And that'll be coming out on Wednesday. I think that's 21st. That's tomorrow, right? That's the 21st of January. So keep a lookout for that one. Myself and Adrian will be going live for our betting man segment, and that's where we'll give you all our detailed breakdown as to why we're making those picks. So for this episode, we're just going to be basically previewing and breaking down X's and O's in the fight cards. The fights on this fight card, without trying to give away who we are going to pick. Okay, without further ado, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so. We are on our road to 2,000 subscribers. We're currently on 1,600 odd. We're on our way there. Give a little bit of click, give a little bit of like, sharing will definitely get us to those numbers. And hopefully we get to see you guys with us live tomorrow for our betting segment. We really want to utilize that platform for that episode as an opportunity to not only make the correct picks, but more importantly, to actually garner the community, with you guys, get into the conversation, get into the banter, and then we can obviously make sure that we all hold each other accountable with making the correct picks for this one. We don't want to be giving money away for free. We want to be making money, so that's what we want to do here, guys. Okay, cool. So, main event. Let me bring it up on screen for you guys now. I'm going to remove myself, but you will still be able to hear me. We're going to talk about this fight card. I'm going to cover mainly the main event, the main card, and some of the prelims, some of the early prelims as well. Not every single fight, but the ones I think that are hot on this fight card, because it's the first fight card for one championship. For UFC. Should get shot for saying that, but it's the first fight card for them, and I think it's a banger. It could have been better if they kept Amanda Nunes and Kayla Addison on the fight card, but we don't, unfortunately. But I still think nearly almost every fight in this fight card is quite impressive. Okay, cool. So first things first, lightweight interim title is the main event where we see Justin Gaethje taking on Paddy the Paddy Pimblett. And got to be honest with you, this fight is arguably put together on the grounds of, other fighters are tied up, the champion relinquishing the title due to outside reasons, outside of combat sports. Number one contender is technically not available for a fight, which I think should actually have been in this fight. But anyway, I'll hold my comments for a little bit later when it comes to that reasoning. We do have the fight now, and I'm quite happy with this matchup, to be honest with you guys. Arguably because Justin Gaethje is still ranked, and I feel like if he's still there, you gotta put him in the ring, in the octagon. If you don't, it's a bit of a waste of a talent. And Paddy the Baddy is on a massive streak, so he arguably deserves the shot if you think about it. There are reasons to justify it, but there also are reasons to justify why you shouldn't actually be in this position. But anyway, we are here now. So Justin Gaethje, some numbers for Justin Gaethje. He's 37 years old, one of the legends in the division. He's currently ranked number 4 in the lightweight division. His record stands at 26 wins, 5 losses, 0 no contest, 20 wins by KO, 9 first round finishes, and he beat Rafael Fiziev by unanimous decision again in his last fight. Paddy the Baddy, on the other hand, 31 years old. He's currently ranked number 5 in the lightweight division. His record is 23 wins, 3 losses, and 0 no contest. He's got 9 fight win streak with 7 wins by KO and 10 wins by sub. So yeah, like I said, this matchup was kind of made because some of the big guys in the division are already sort of matched up. You got Charles Oliveira fighting against Max Holloway. Arman Sarukian literally fought a month ago, so it's like you can't really put them up against each other, right? And Ilia Topuria relinquished the title, so that leaves a vacant title. Even though it's interim, in my opinion, there should have been for the title anyway. So we can sort of know who's next. But this is going to be a good fight regardless. I must start off by prefacing this though, and the reason why I feel excuse me, Paddy the Baddy got this fight on a little bit of a good graces situation, because as much as like I haven't really been his biggest fan, I must say he has turned around my decisions about him a little bit over his last, I'd say, 2 years. He's grown to become I take a liking to his fight style and what he's all about. I think he's going to be a champion. Not so sure on that. Um, and that reason for that is because I'm not sold on Paddy the Baddy just yet. The reason for that is because he hasn't really fought top tier or elite talent in the lightweight division since being in the UFC. And the reason why I'm saying that, if you think about it this way, and I like that Dustin Poirier had said this on the podcast of Edel Lawani. He had mentioned that he doesn't think that Paddy the Baddy is there yet, and the reason for that is he hasn't fought any of the elite lightweight fighters, right? If you think about it this way, and the response from Edel Lawani was like, well, what about Michael Chandler? And then Dustin Poirier was like, but Michael Chandler was on a what 4-fight losing streak before going into that fight, almost 40 years old, past his best, if we're being honest. And then I like what Dustin Poirier also said. There's a chance that he feels that Chandler might have taken that fight because the bag was big enough for him, right? He took the paycheck more than anything else. Because if we're being realistic, if you look at that fight between Michael Chandler and Paddy the Baddy, who would have gained more of that fight, win or lose? Surely Paddy the Baddy. You know what I mean? You beat Michael Chandler, you beat in a legend, you beat in a former champion, you beat in a top 5 contender, you jump the ranks, boom, more to gain. If he had lost against Chandler, it would have just meant that kind of stays where he was before that fight had started. Michael Chandler beating Paddy the Baddy would not have gotten him back into the top 5. It would have left him at number 7 where he was when he was taking that fight. So you say it was more to gain for Paddy than it was for Michael Chandler to gain or lose in that fight, right? It was kind of just a big paycheck for him if you think about it that way. And Paddy kind of sold that fight really well. So there was a lot for him to gain. And although it was a big test, Michael Chandler is a monster to fight against, but it's not Michael Chandler when he was 28, 29 years old, right? It's Michael Chandler at 37, 38. It's not the same guy. It's completely not the same guy. Before that, he fought against King Green. He beat King Green by sub. He beat Tony Ferguson. These are all has-beens, guys. Like, if being honest, this is guys that's not anywhere near top tier anymore, at least. Right? He beat Flash Gordon, which is the one fight everyone thought he actually lost. Leavitt as well. Beat Leavitt, beat Vargas. Basically, all these names, you ask yourself, where are they now? Where were they even back then? You know what I mean? So Paddy was never really tested by top tier guys. And then you got Justin Gaethje, right? Since Justin Gaethje induction to the UFC, he's only been fighting against top 10 guys. He's never fought outside of that. He's never fought a fighter that's outside of the top 10. Never. Not once. Not once. He's what's his name? Vic James. I think it's James. What is his name? James Vick. That was the only guy that was in the top 10, 2018. Other than that, every single fighter he's fought against since then were either former champions or former title contenders. That's Justin Gaethje for you. So the level of opponents between the two fighters clearly should tell you that Justin Gaethje should be winning this fight, like without a shadow of a doubt, right? Because he's beaten everybody. Okay, not necessarily beaten everybody, but fought the best of the best, right? He's fought against the best guys, competed with the top of the food chain for as long as I can remember, since he started in the UFC. So that should give him a massive upper hand when it comes to fighting against Paddy the Baddy. But now here's the reality, right? Justin Gaethje is also 37 years old, and it's like this is his last. He keeps saying that's his last hurrah, right? It's like this is it for him. Win or lose, this is the last fight. Even if he wins the title, it's like am I really going to defend this title after this? Like, there are killers that's lining up for him. So, and he lost to some of them already. He lost to Charles DeBlanc. He lost to Max Holloway. I don't think he beats Arman Tsarukyan, if I'm being honest. So it's kind of the last hurrah for him, and I agree with that. So it's a big fight for him. I'm sure he's going to want to go out on top, right? For Paddy the Baddy, to be quite honest with you guys, I think it does pose some kind of threats that we can't overlook here. And what that simply is Paddy the Baddy has got very underrated jiu-jitsu. I'm gonna put myself back on screen here while I break this X's and O's down for you guys. Paddy the Baddy's got some really good jiu-jitsu, and we don't really give it that much respect. Fantastic knowledge in grappling. He knows exactly what to do when it comes to that part of the game. His striking, although his striking is effective, it's still not, I'd say very, but it's still sloppy in itself, right? Chin's always up over here when he's striking like that, and he's not ducking under, he's not feinting his strikes, it's just committing, and sometimes it's telegraphed in terms of how he sort of sets up his strikes. You can kind of see where he's going to go with it, or kind of predict how he's going to do the next move. Good calf kicks. The calf kicks was key against Michael Chandler. But I think Justin Gaethje's got better calf kicks than Paddy the Baddy, especially when Justin Gaethje throws it. It can be dilapidating. It can take you out. I've seen him throw calf kicks where fighters don't know what the fuck to do with it. Justin will tell you every time they fought that the calf kicks were something that he was always wary of, right? Michael Johnson, another example. Even Khabib didn't do a good job with that calf kicks and basically rushed the takedowns because he knew that he couldn't stand any further than that and had to take him down. So why I'm highlighting this is because I think in the striking department, I think Gaethje's better. I think Gaethje's got fundamentally boxing is sharper, better jabs, stronger hooks, better uppercuts, more creative, but also telegraphs a lot of his strikes, telegraphs his patterns. You know how he's gonna throw that strike. But brilliant against some of the best guys in the division, especially against the guys that are just outside of the elite. I think Gaethje outboxes them every day of the week. So I give this guys in the striking department to be quite fairly even between Gaethje and Paddy. I still think Gaethje is better. I think fundamentally he can put work and navigate the fight on the feet more than what Pimblett does. I think Pimblett's striking is that devastating. It's effective enough to get you down and sort of get you panicking, and which rushes you into giving away a lot of targets, and then he takes you down, submits you, ground and pounds you. That's Paddy's best work. And why I'm highlighting that is because one of the key losses for me for Gaethje was when he lost against Khabib Nurmagomedov and he lost against Charles Oliveira. And those are significant losses to me is because they beat him by jiu-jitsu in him, right? I know Oliveira tagged him and put him down. It was a massive hit and led to the finish. But one thing that Gaethje does have is he's got good fundamental American wrestling, right? But when Khabib took him down, it was complete jiu-jitsu and mauling, and he didn't know how to get away from it. Paddy the Baddy's wrestling isn't technically American wrestling. It's got a little bit more jiu-jitsu to it than it does wrestling. And I think that's a key factor that could make a difficult fight for Gaethje. You know what I mean? It could if it's an all stand-up affair, I give it to Gaethje. I think Gaethje smokes him. But I think in a 5-round fight, it can go anywhere. And I think Paddy has to take this fight to the ground. He has to force the fight into different avenues and not just keep it into the striking game. So I think if he does that, going 5 rounds is something new to him. Or maybe he's done 5 rounds before, but this is 5 rounds in the UFC against a top caliber opponent in Gaethje. Right? That's a different feat in itself. And then to also, if you can't take Gaethje down in that 5 rounds, you can bet that you're gonna be in the fight you don't want to be in. So it's a tricky fight, right? But I think Paddy the Baddy's youth, vibrance, and the jiu-jitsu is going to be something that can really put this fight or make it a little bit more even than what we think it is. But I agree with Justin. With Dustin for hey, this is the biggest test for Paddy. I think if Paddy gets through this, then and only then he will be largely recognized as one of the top guys in this division. Right now, he has to first beat someone like Gaethje to get there. Big fight. Big fight. That's going to be a lot for that landscape of that lightweight division for whoever wins here. I think UFC is probably begging on Paddy to win this fight more than anything because there's a future. You can kind of see him go on a run and defend it a little bit. Whereas Justin Gaethje, it's like you win here. Who's your next fight? Tsarukyan. I think that's a loss for him. After that, who else is there? There's Max and Charles. There's Ilya to come back. And in my opinion, all those guys actually beat Gaethje. So it's hard to see him go on a title defense after this, or title reign, if you will. Whereas Paddy, you can kind of see it. I still don't think Paddy beats all those guys, but because he's younger, you're gonna see him around a lot more. You know what I mean? But you guys know where the comment section is. Give me your thoughts on that one. I'd love to know what you guys think about that main event. But for now, I'm going to keep it moving to the co-main event. So let's do that. Oh, some sweet, sweet, sweet water. Let's go. Co-main event. We would have had Kayla Addison and Nunes, but that's fine. I actually am super stoked for this co-main event. To be honest with you guys, this is a fun fight to watch because both guys are super talented, and I think Song Yadong is very confident in this fight, guys. But let's go through some numbers, and then we'll go through some X's and O's as well. So, some numbers: Sugar Sean O'Malley, we know, former champion, 31 years old, still a very, very good age, prime age actually. He's currently ranked number 3 in the bantamweight division. His record record overall is 18 wins, 3 losses, 0 contest, 12 wins by KO, 9 first round finishes, and a 2-fight losing streak. Both of those losses come into the hands of Merab Devarishvili. Song Yadong is 28 years old. He's currently ranked number 5 in the bantamweight division. His record is 22 wins, 8 losses, 1 no contest, 9 wins by KO, 3 wins by sub, 7 first round finishes. And he beat Henry Cejudo by unanimous decision in his last fight. It was obviously very questionable. But yeah, he was doing really well up until that point. So what do we think about this matchup? I think Song Yadong deserves it, in my opinion. The dude did a fantastic job at staying in around the top 5 for a long time, even though he got some losses that, kind of showed him where he's at, right? If you think about it this way, he lost to Piotr Jan, who is arguably probably one of the toughest guys, or the best guy to fight in this division, like to hardest guy to fight in this division. Lost to Cody Sandhagen, but other than that, beat some of the best guys, right? I mean, Marlon Moraes, Gutierrez, Ricky Simone. You know what I mean? Fought some of the best dudes and beaten them. And I like that. I like that he kept himself relevant when he could have easily fallen off, right? He's still in and around there, and he's fundamentally a fantastic, well-rounded fighter. Primarily a boxer, very sharp boxer. But I think being with Alpha Male for so long now, I think it was almost 10 years, 11 years with him. He's showcasing a well-rounded ability to fight. And I think that's going to be a good test for Sugar Sean O'Malley. However, I still think the fight's favorable for Sugar Sean. I'll explain that now in a little bit. Because Sugar Sean, outside of Marab, he lost to Chito Vera early on in his career. I thought he lost against Piotr Jan. But outside of those matches, he pretty much proved to be a top dog, dude, and deservedly is to be number 2 in the division. I think Umar Nurmagomedov will be a difficult fight for him as well. But to be honest with you, I think he's in the right spot right now. And the winner here, because both guys have fought Piotr Jan. That's the reality here. That both guys have fought Piotr Jan, and I think a win wouldn't necessarily guarantee the shot. I think if Umar Nurmagomedov wins his fight, because his fight, I'll talk about his fight a little bit later. I think he might get that shot against Piotr Jan. But I think what UFC's banking on here is for Sugar Sean to actually win and get that shot against Piotr Jan again. Because that fight was obviously the one that everybody wants to have rematched, considering how the outcome was, and how questionable that outcome actually was, right? So, X's and O's. Let's talk about this fight, X's and O's, and who do we think is going to get the job done here? Oh, I won't say who, but just X's and O's. So, for Song Yadong, I think keys to victory for me in this fight is to, obviously, we all know what Sugar Sean O'Malley is. I won't say weakness, because technically he's a phenomenal grappler. Sugar Sean's a phenomenal grappler. He just grappled against Marab, who out-grapples everybody, right? Except for Piotr Jan for some reason now. But yeah, Sugar Sean is a very competent jiu-jitsu practitioner, very good wrestler. You just don't see it because he primarily loves to strike. That's where he has a hand over everybody. But I think we don't get to see enough of the grappling to know what he's like. And I watched one of his jiu-jitsu tournaments or invitational to the UFC, and I was like, oh, Sugar Sean is actually good on the ground. And Song Yadong, I think what he has over Sugar Sean would probably be power. He's a devastating, powerful puncher, fundamentally a very good boxer. But I don't know if the footwork would be, or I don't know if that boxing that he would have would be enough to actually deal with the footwork of Sugar Sean. So what for me, Song Yadong would have to do in this fight is he's going to have to fight a little bit like Uriah Faber, if you will, but with better striking, right? Use that sharp boxing, use that aggressive boxing, but also do what he did against Cejudo. Be aggressive. Sugar Sean likes to be. I won't say he likes. He's obviously wants to be on the front foot, but Sugar Sean is very comfortable on the back foot, right? He's fundamentally fantastic on the back, sharp counters, but he doesn't want to be there the whole time. He hates being there all the time, and I think what Song Yadong needs to do in this fight is use that boxing, but use it as pressure. So not like necessarily go in there and just try and take Sugar Sean's head off. I don't think that's going to be successful for him. I think he might walk into a KO shot if he does that. I think what he needs to do in this fight is to be high pressure, threaten the takedown, not even threaten the clinch, but actually get in the clinch, throw some elbows, force Sugar Sean to defend that. Because I think if you take a page out of Marab's book it's just to overwhelm Sugar Sean on the back foot. You don't have to outstrike him. You just have to make him stay there. And you make him stay there, that means he's striking defensively, right? He's looking for sharp counters, and then you can actually read him. If you make him defend takedowns, it makes him not want to perform well. You know what I mean? I think it's also only 3 rounds, so Song Yadong is going to have to put on a lot of pressure, lots of jabs, threaten takedowns, threaten clinching positions, even get the fucking takedowns and land some big shots there as well. So I do think that's where he has the advantage over Sugar Sean O'Malley, but slightly, right? That's a lot easier said than done. I think for Sugar Sean, being the sniper that he is, being the faster fighter that he is, and being on the one that has the longer range, do what he does best. If Sugar Sean shows up the way that he fought against Marlon Chito Vera in the second fight, I think he can win this fight. And I think the fight's favorable for him to do that kind of performance because of who it is at Song Yadong, right? It's not going to be Marab. It's not Umar Nurmagomedov. It's not a heavy combat sambo kind of fighter, right? Song Yadong isn't like that. Song Yadong is the kind of guy that wants to get in there and trade some punches. He's a boxer by trade, and that's what he wants to do. So I think it's going to favor Sugar Sean. It all depends on what Song Yadong's pressure game looks like in this fight for me. Because if Song Yadong starts to take up sort of the comfortable stage of being on the flat foot, stay in the center of the octagon, and not really chase Sugar Sean down, I think that's going to be a bit of his demise. It's going to be easy for Sugar Sean from there because you know what Sugar Sean does. Chito Vera tried to pressure him and was unsuccessful with all his strikes, right? Until like the last moment. Sugar Sean can do a lot of things. He can deep kick you. He's got a good high kick. He's got fantastic sharp 1-2s from both sides, left or right. He's got good spins. His footwork is probably his best weapon because that's what throws fighters off. They can't catch him, right? They bite on his feints a lot, and that's how he reads and gets his opponents to sort of let the defenses down. It's a tricky fight for both guys because Sugar Sean, has he been KO'd? No, I think the fight against Song Yadong, against Chito Vera, blew out his knee or ankle, and then he got TKO'd. But up until that point, even Petr Yan tagged him with big shots and hasn't been able to put him away. And Petr Yan is a fantastic striker. Marab tagged him a few times, couldn't put him away. You know what I mean? So he's quite durable. He's quite durable. Now, I'm wondering if Song Yadong has got that exact shot in him to put him away. I'm not so sure. This is an elite fight for both guys. And look, at the end of the day, it's a big fight for both of them. I think both guys can see that title shot right there. You know, I think a win is like, I'm there. I can get that title shot. Very curious because Song Yadong is hyped up. I'm very curious to see what he does to win this fight for him because, in my opinion, I can't see him finishing Sugar Sean unless there's like a TKO or submission. But that's like not the likeliest outcome for me. I think he can win this fight on decision by maybe just bagging the 3 rounds, guys, and just like utilizing a good game plan, and that is keeping Sugar Sean on the back foot, make him defend a lot of takedowns, strike him on the cage, you know. But like what Marab did, basically use the Marab game plan on him, and I think Song Yadong can do that. It's just a matter of can he actually catch Sugar Sean? Because Sugar Sean is sharp, and I think Song Yadong is hittable. Right? If you watch Song Yadong against Cody Sandhagen, he's hittable. Against Marab, he's hittable. Even though he claimed that on Mighty Master's podcast that with when he fought against Petr Yan, not Marab, when he fought against Petr Yan, he felt that he was striking with Petr Yan quite equally until Petr Yan took him down. I don't think Sugar Sean's going to take him down Um, so it's gonna make for a great fight. Let me know in the comment section who you guys got for that one. I'd really love to hear your thoughts. And again, like, share, and subscribe, and keep a lookout for our betting man segment, which will be released. We will talk about these fights again and give you our picks. I'm very, very hyped for this fight, God. Oh, you mad? I'm very, very hyped for this fight, God. So let's go. Give me your thoughts in the comments while I move to the next bout. Another banger. Let's go. Okay. So we have the heavies. 80s favorite. Let's go. We have the heavyweights back at it. Two big guys, highly ranked opponents. This is an exciting fight. I really think this is gonna be a banger. Someone's gonna have to go to sleep here. Hopefully that no one. I hope it's not a snooze fest, right? And I'll tell you why I'm saying that because both guys have been in snooze fest fights before. Not that Waldo Costa does it frequently, but when he has fought against a top 5 ranked opponent, it was there was some questionable performances there. All right, so up next we have Waldo Cortez or Costa taking on Derek Lewis, the Black Beast, everybody's favorite, probably one of the most favorable fighters or favorite fighters in the heavyweight right now. Let's get some numbers and then we'll go through some X's and O's. Waldo Cortez or Costa is 34 years old. He's ranked number 5 in the heavyweight division. His record is 16 wins, 2 losses, 0 no contest, 8 wins by KO, 1 win by sub, 5 first round finishes, and he's got 2 fight win streak at the moment. He beat Gaethje by first round KO in his last fight. Derek Lewis, on the other hand, he's 40 years old. He's currently ranked number 8 in the heavyweight division. His record is 29 wins, 12 losses, 0 no contest, 24 wins by KO, 10 first round finishes, 2 fight win streak, beating Tillison Teixeira, the first round KO in his last fight. So we have 2 big boys with lots of knockouts on their names. We know what this fight's going to look like, in my opinion. It's going to be one of those things where they measure, feel each other out, and then bang, throw over and right, and then whoever lands first is probably going to get the finish. And I'm saying it like a little bit of a prick energy because it's like, surely they're better than that. But that's what we get in heavyweights, guys. We don't really get a fight where we've seen all sorts of different techniques being thrown to other because these guys are just big. It's a lot of power, so it's a lot of measuring and timing, and then making sure you land your big shot, and that's how you basically end fights here in the heavyweight division. Keys to victory. Interesting. Keys to victory for me, I'd say for Derek Lewis, I think he's gonna have to utilize some grappling. I'm being honest with you. He should take a page out of Pavlovich's his book. That's the one guy to beat him. Pavlovich beat Cortez with utilizing some good grappling on the cage, striking him there. Never really got the finish, but he was keeping Cortez busy and he was making him defend a lot of takedowns and clinches and putting him in positions where, as much as we all are sort of getting not uncomfortable, but like annoyed with this kind of fighting in MMA, it is the sport, right? And if the rules aren't going against it, then use it. And Cortez, if you've been real, you don't really want to be in a full boxing match with him because the dude's dangerous, especially on the back foot. He's super dangerous, and that's where I think the fight's gonna take place. I think Costa is gonna take up the back foot. Without his decision, he's gonna have to take the back foot because Derek Lewis is gonna be that kind of guy. He's gonna walk him down and he's gonna measure him and throw out those jumping kicks that Derek Lewis does. Might even shoot for a takedown, right? And I think that's gonna be the keys for him to win this kind of fight because I think if Derek Lewis does what he did in the past, which is like walk you down, and then and wails a right hand on you, I think you'll get caught to something because Costa's best weapon is when he gets backed up. He kind of does this possum thing where he looks like he's a bit nervous and he doesn't like being backed up. And then as soon as you start letting your combinations go, he rolls with it, and then he lets his hook comes out, and next thing you know, you're on the ground and he knocks you out, right? So we're doing that the whole of last year. And I think that's the biggest risk here. I haven't seen what Costa looks like when he's going forward and peppering out some double jabs into a left straight, or I don't know what he looks like when he's looking at that, or at least how to control the footwork of the fights or move his opponent like that. I don't see that. It's a lot of we're going forward, we're going to swing, and then we're going to stay in the pocket. And Acosta does a good job in the pocket. I think he's the more cleaner striker. But look, when it comes to fights like this, it's such a hard thing to sort of say who wins. It's so difficult to be for sure who gets a win here, just because one punch changes everything in a fight like this. It's not like in the lower weight classes, the lighter weight classes, I should say, because in those kind of fights, the guys are a little bit more durable in the sense they can take the shot and keep going or reverse it, and changes the whole dynamic. In every weight, it's these guys can in fight within a second. 1 second, someone's out. And I think that's what we're going to get here. One of these guys are going to go down. And for me, it's 50-50. It's so hard to predict. I want to say Acosta, but at the same time, you can't, because it's Derek Lewis, guys. It's Derek fucking Lewis. This guy, he's either going to be taken down and then he loses the fight, or he's standing and fighting with you, and then there's a high chance that he's going to knock you out if the fight keeps standing. So I don't know if Acosta has got good jiu-jitsu or a ground game. I don't know what he looks like on bottom or on top. But what I do know is that as long as the fight's standing, these guys have got a very, very high chance of putting each other's lights out with one punch. So let me know in the comments what you guys think. Again, I'm trying my best here not to give you my picks without giving away too much information. But let me know in the comment section what your thoughts are on that on that featured bout in the main card. Fun fight card ahead. Let's keep it moving to the women's flyweight division. Let's get that going. All right. Up next, we have women's flyweight MMA. And this, again, another fight where we have top 5 contendership going on here, where fighters are arguably close to a title shot. I mean, even that fight between Walter Cortez Acosta and Derek Lewis, realistically, a win for one of those guys pushes them back into title contention. More for Derek Lewis. For Acosta, he's pretty much there already. So, yeah, I think if he gets a win, he kind of solidifies his spot on where to go next, right? Obviously, we will first have to get a rematch between Cyril Gane and Tom Aspinall. But I think a win for either one of those big gentlemen there will definitely give themselves a strong spot for next in line. And the same can be said here for these two fighters coming up next. So, Natalia Silva, let's go through some numbers. She's taking on Rose Namajuanjuan. Some numbers. Natalia Silva, still fairly young, 28 years old in her career. She's currently ranked number 2 in the women's flyweight division. Record is 19 wins, 5 losses, 1 no contest, 13 fight win streak, 5 wins by KO, 7 wins by sub. Beat Alexa Grasso, pardon me, by unanimous decision in her last fight. There was Nunez, former strawweight champion, came down to fight for the title in the flyweight. Pretty much a legend of the sport. I can see her being a Hall of Famer as next for the women's division or the women's combat sports for UFC. Rose Namajunas is 33 years old. She's currently ranked number 6 in the women's flyweight division. Her record is 15 wins, 7 losses in no contest, 2 wins by KO, 6 wins by sub, 5 first round finishes. She beat Miranda Maverick by unanimous decision in her last fight. Yeah, good matchup. I think, if I'm being honest, I think Natalia Silva should be fighting for a title. If I'm not mistaken, just myself, who's the champions again? It's been a while. Valentina Shevchenko. Yeah, I think Valentina Shevchenko even said that she would probably love to go up against Natalia Silva next. And I think so. I think they could have done it in Blanchfield and Rose Namajunas again instead of going or in Blanchfield and Manon Ferro, and then let Natalia Silva get Valentina Shevchenko. But okay. Valentina gets to wait it out, and I think the winner here definitely solidifies themselves as a title shot. More so Natalia Silva than Rose. I think Rose would probably have to go through 2 fights if she beats Natalia Silva. She would have to go up against Manon Ferro, in my opinion, before she gets Valentina Shevchenko again. Not again. I think I'm not sure they fought. But yeah, that's the reality. I think you have to fight against Manon Ferro again. That's what I meant to say. Yeah, would have to get Manon Ferro again. Let's talk about some X's and O's for this fight, because this is a difficult matchup off the top of my head, or even going through some of the tapes and stuff. It's a difficult fight to sort of break down. And the reason being is because I think these women are actually equal. I think Natalia Silva is probably the better kickboxer, right? And for the most part, the kickboxing nature of her fight style has actually kept her undefeated, or at least kept the top of, not top of the food chain, but it kept the. Why am I doing that? So weird. Sorry. I'm just changing my notes here. Yeah, I think a lot for a large portion of Natalia Silva's fight style has kept her safe in UFC and kept her out of a lot of danger. Because fighters can't seem to catch her. They don't know how to stop that footwork. Which, to be quite honest with you, a lot of it is lateral movement, right? It's just left and right. She isn't really going forward, and she throws a tip at you, or throws a two-piece, gets out of range, and moves again left or right, left or right, right, left. And that's what she does the whole time. And it's kept her safe. Gasha couldn't catch her. You know what I mean? Fighters are struggling to sort of close her down and stay on her. And what I like about Rose is one of those I don't give a fuck kind of fighters. She will make sure that she puts hands on you, right? I think she's rangy. I think her striking is a little bit different to Manon Fido and Valentina Shevchenko. In fact, let's leave that out of it. Leave Valentina out of it and Manon Fido. Let's take like fighters that she's fought like Alexa Grasso. Alexa Grasso is a phenomenal boxer. Phenomenal boxer. But I think Rose Namajunas is a better kickboxer than Alexa Grasso, right? And that's something that Natalia Silva got to deal with now. Is someone that can also kickbox, also has very good lateral movement, has a ton of experience, more than Alexa Grasso, more than Manon Ferro, has championship level quality, right? Rose is that level. She's that level. She's that good. Now, I know the last couple of years, people have been like, oh, it's not the same Rose. But I think Rose still got the stuff. I think Rose's biggest fear when it comes to MMA is takedowns. Actually, doesn't like being too much in the grappling exchanges. Even though she's got good jiu-jitsu, Rose doesn't really want to be involved in the grappling for too long. She wants to stand and bang with you and stay there and utilize her range. And I think it's a fight where she's probably going to deploy a low calf kick a lot in this fight to really stop that lateral movement of Natalia Silva. Natalia Silva, like I said, guys, I watched a lot of tape on her, and she loves the side-to-side movement. When she stops and she stops her movement, that's when she plants her feet, and you can expect jab straight, whether it's outside or inside foot, mainly outside. It's a jab straight. She'll come back into a position or back into range, back into stance, and you can expect a front side kick, boom, just to reestablish that range, not to really hurt you, but to reestablish that range and get back on her bike, try and catch me. Now, I've seen that happen in the last couple of fights, and what I noticed is that's her default. And later rounds, she gets a little bit slower with that game plan, and you can kind of catch her. Grasso was starting to get hands on her in the later rounds. So there's a lot of tape to watch. That's a repetitive thing she does, rinse and repeat, and it kept her safe. I think Rose is going to do a lot of walking her down and then sort of banking on that movement from Natalia, like banking on it. Like, you need to move left or right. You're not going to stand and bang. Because I'm being honest with you guys, Natalia Silva's boxing is okay. It's okay. The reason why she's winning so many fights is because her footwork is keeping her safe. She stays away out of danger and she just outpoints you all the time, but doesn't really knock people out. Boxing isn't the sharpest. And when fighters do step, when she does that to stay in the pocket with a fight and actually boxes somebody, she kind of loses that moments in the fight. So she gets back to safety, gets out into range, throws out the side kick, starts moving again. I don't know if that's going to work for her in this fight, because I think Rose is a little bit more elite than that. And Rose probably will take her down, force into a grappling exchange, right? And I think Rose is also going to utilize something that Alexa Grasso didn't use on her. In fact, a lot of Natalia's fights, not a lot of women are actually calf kicking her. If we're being honest, who in the UFC's women's division throwing calf kicks the way Alex Pereira does, or Justin Gaethje, or, you know, who else is there that throws devastating calf kicks? Charles DuBronco. Like, no one else is really throwing calf kicks like that for the women's division. Maybe Amanda Nunes, but she was the last one that could see that was doing it successfully. So I think that would be a key factor for me for those to win this kind of fight, is to actually not necessarily headhunt Natalia Silva, but like attack the body and attack the legs and, you know, take down the base, slow her down. That's how you beat someone like Natalia Silva. When Natalia Silva, she must just do what she does all the time. And that's just kickbox you. No one's been able to beat it. And yeah, I think she can do it here as well. Tricky fight for her. I think the winner here for Natalia, if she wins here, she's definitely going to get Valentina next. I think if Rose wins here, she might need to do another fight, which will most likely then be a rematch with Manon Fiorot. Give me your thoughts in the comment sections, please, ladies and gentlemen. I'd love to know who you think gets the job done in this women's flyweight division. It's going to be a good fight. It's going to be a very, very good fight. For now, we keep it moving to the opening fight of the main card. Let's go. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's do this. Men's featherweight bout. What a fight, guys. This is going to be a fun one. First and foremost, I want to say happy to see Arnold Allen back. I really was like, wait, what happened to this guy? He was a time where he was fighting frequently, climbing up the rankings, then lost to Max Holloway. And it was like up and down, up and down. And yeah, happy to see him back. I think the performance against Gaethje Gaethje was a smaller reminder of what a talented fighter he actually is. But he's taking on someone who had a massive 2025 in Jan Silva. Obviously, losing against Diego Lopez wasn't the best result for him, but still a very, very good contender in my opinion. I think the rankings make sense when it comes to this, when it comes to these two. So some numbers, some stats. Arnold Allen, he's 31 years old. He's currently ranked number 6 in the featherweight division. His record is 20 wins, 3 losses, 0 no contest. 7 wins by KO, 4 wins by sub, 4 first round finishes. He beat Gaethje Gaethje by unanimous decision in his last fight. Jan Silva, 29 years old, is ranked number 10 in the featherweight division. His record is 16 wins, 3 losses, 0 no contest, 12 wins by KO, 3 wins by sub, 10 first round finishes, and he lost to Diego Lopez by second round KO in his last fight. That was a wild fight, by the way. He could have easily won it as well. I think, but I just think Diego's a heart determination and his willingness kept him in the fight. And Jan Silva just got tagged and wasn't able to recover from it. But happy to see Arnold Allen back. Let's go through some of the X's and O's here. I think, who do you think is gonna win? I'll bring myself back on screen. So for Jan Silva, right? We know what he's all about. We know how powerful of a striker he is. He's very dynamic and explosive in his striking. Genuinely has extreme knockout power, but sometimes gets a little bit too reckless with it, and you can get caught. So I think for this fight, he's going to have to be a little bit more patient, not get so wild the way he did against Diego Lopez. I think he's going to have to be a little bit more patient. I think attacking the calves again is a good weapon for him. Going to have to keep kicks, not getting all. I kind of feel like Jan Silva's strength is also his biggest weakness, and that's that massive explosion that he has and gets kind of reckless. Once he gets forward and he lands a big jab on you, or he lands a right hand and he sees your eyes go like that, he starts just making this fight a very tornado-esque kind of fight. And that's kind of a gamble for me, because it's like you're gambling everything and all you have here in this moment now, because you've got your person basically looking a little bit shocked. But then what happens is if the opponent kind of recovers well enough to get around that, then Jan Silva was kind of cooked from me after that, because he threw all his cards out there. He showed his own entire hand, and that's what he does. I don't know if Jan Silva has got that ability to be like an elite fighter and championship kind of fighter where I'll take you to town over 4 or 5 rounds, 3 rounds easy. They'll just put it all out in the first or second round, and that's the fight, right? That's what Jan Silva does. So I think he's going to have to be more composed here, because Arnold Allen has got championship level experience. So I think Jan Silva is going to have to be poised, take his time, be very effective, and shot selection is going to be very much on point. And I think that means he needs to take out the legs, because Arnold Allen is a very well-rounded fighter, right? He's got the range as well and the height advantage over Jan Silva here. Jan Silva also has got good submissions, but there's not necessarily a thing what he does where he's like walks in there, takes you down, jiu-jitsu, looks for submission. No, he wants to just knock the shit out of you, right? So he's going to have to utilize the jab, primarily box with him, attack the calf kicks a lot, right, to stop Arnold Allen's movement, because Arnold Allen's he prioritizes safety. That's Arnold Allen's fight style. He prioritizes safety. Looks to finish fights, but for the most part, don't get hurt. Don't get hurt too much. That's Arnold Allen for you, which means he fights outside of the range. He doesn't stay within the pocket where we both are in the range. He kind of stays just outside of yours all the time. And that's what I gauged from watching a lot of his fights. So that's my keys to victory for Jan Silva. I think for Arnold Allen, I think the keys to victory for me is just to use the well-rounded nature of what he does really well. He's got reach, right? So I think he's going to have to jab his way into range. Once he gets there, shoot the takedown. Don't even fake it. Just shoot it. Right? Force Jan Silva to defend it. John Silver obviously wants to be comfortable, and he's comfortable stage for John Silver is when he's standing and banging, when he's standing and just boxing with you. Now you need to eliminate that. And I think Arnold Allen has got a good job of, again, he's one of his best weapons is staying safe, right? That he's fundamentally boxing you, but then staying in range where he moves out of the way, shoots for takedowns if he's getting hurt, takes you down, keeps you there, down in pounds, pushes for submissions, doesn't get it, that's fine, gets back up, throws a strike, shoot for another takedown. He's very good at utilizing that kind of game plan, which I think is a very good game plan into modern day MMA. But you have to have the stamina to do so. And I think between the two of these guys, Arnold Allen should have the better stamina. That being said, I don't know. I can think in top of my head in the featherweight division right now who's got the sort of devastating knockout power that Gene Silver has in this division. I know, Lerone Murphy's got good KOs, but that's usually because of his timing. I don't know if Lerone Murphy can box. Like his power is as powerful. The hit, the G force of the punch. I don't know if it matches that of John Silver, but I think the timing of Lerone Murphy makes him devastating. He times you so well that any shot he hits you with can put you out. I think Arnold Allen is a well-rounded athlete. I think overall he's the better fighter than John Silver. But I don't know if Arnold Allen has got the ability to survive with that kind of power punching, meaning that if he gets tagged with one of the shots, I can see him go down. But I think the fight creates a very even dynamic between the two guys because I think Arnold Allen's game plan, his overall fight style as a fighter, is a big threat for John Silver. It's a massive threat for him. I think he can struggle. He's going to struggle with something like that. I think he will struggle within the later rounds if it goes past the first round. I think he will definitely struggle with the sort of the wave after wave that Arnold Allen deploys on his opponents. Just think about how he picked Gaethje, who was primarily a striker. Arnold Allen was like, nope, I'm just going to take you down all the time and beat you there. And he did it without even looking tired. So, yeah, I've got not going to give you the pick. I was about to tell you who I've got in this fight. I'm not going to give you the pick. What I do have is excitement with this fight card. So let me know in the comments what you guys think about that the fight between Arnold Allen and John Silver. For now, I'm going to keep it moving to the early prelims. We'll talk about some of the fights in the early prelims. So let's go. Okay. So the main event on the early prelims, we have some bantamweight top five contendership going on here. Winner here needs to solidify themselves for top five. Not even just top five, but like maybe next in line. Maybe not Deiveson Figueiredo, but more Umar Nurmagomedov. But Deiveson Figueiredo, winner Umar Nurmagomedov, basically catapults him back into that top five contendership and solidify him to stay there. So let's go through some numbers and then we'll talk about some X's and O's. Umar Nurmagomedov is 30 years old, still very fresh. Sort of like the age of where now he should be going into his next level of his career. He's ranked number 2 in the bantamweight division. His record, no man, he can't be ranked number 2. Sugar Sean's ranked number 2. He is. So what's Sugar Sean? Number 3. Okay. Yeah. Okay. He's ranked number 2. His record is 19 wins, 1 loss, 0 no contest, 2 wins by KO, 7 wins by sub, 5 first round finishes, and he beat Mario Bautista by unanimous decision in his last fight, which was a fight that left me questioning a little bit of Umar Nurmagomedov. I was like, left me a little bit. It was an undesirable performance for me. Let's put it that way. He still won, but it wasn't that amazing. Deiveson Figueiredo, on the other hand, 38 years old. His record his current rank is 6 in the bantamweight division. His record is 25 wins, 5 losses, 1 no contest. Or was it 1 draw? I can't remember now. 9 wins by KO, 9 wins by sub, 11 first round finishes, and he beat Montel Jackson by split decision in his last fight. I mean, I thought he won the fight. Straight up. I thought he won the fight. It wasn't even, I wouldn't say it's close. I just think because there was some of the rounds were uneventful. But I mean, the rounds, you could see for majority of all 3 rounds that Deiveson was definitely one that was winning it. So let's talk about some X's and O's here. Like who does what and how do they win this fight, right? So for Deiveson Figueiredo, right, I think what he needs to be doing in this fight is utilize that grappling pressure heavy fight that he did against Montel Jackson and what was giving him a lot of the wins when he was basically coming when he was climbing up the ranks in this division. I don't know if he can do what he did in the flyweight division. He can do here, which is just knock people out. I don't know if he's got that. These guys are they're much bigger than him. They're a lot more durable. They can take the shot. They got more power. So a lot of that eliminates a lot of Davidson's strengths, right? So what he has to do a lot of the time in this division, Cody Sanigan called it, he has to wrestle. Unfortunately, he has to because everyone's so much bigger than him. So he's gonna have to use the pressure that he did with Montel Jackson, and be aggressive with the wrestling. Umar Nurmagomedov is very sharp. He's got fast striking. He also has good footwork, which is lateral footwork, right? Gets forward, throws 1-2s, throws up kicks, question mark kicks, throws tips, then hops out of range, then starts moving on his bike left to right. I think this fight is the kind of fight that Umar might look to be the bully. I expect him to play that kind of game in this fight. Utilize the size and speed and the range. Fast striking. And also utilize the Dagestani wrestling, dude. I think that's going to be his keys to victory for Deiveson Figueiredo. Yeah, just for what I can see in my mind's eye here, is he's going to have to be the one backing Umar up. At the moment he doesn't do that, I think Umar Nurmagomedov is going to get comfortable and just be too fast. And striking's going to be too dynamic for Figueiredo to keep up with. Figueiredo got outboxed by Brandon Moreno. That fundamentally beautiful boxer to watch. When he came into this division, I can't really think of who Figueiredo outboxed outside of Cody Garbrandt. Everybody else he did beat in the division, he was just better than him in terms of utilizing good game plans of overall striking and grappling. And to be quite frank, Umar Nurmagomedov is very good at that as well. Probably one of the best in the division to do that. You know, next to Merab Dvalishvili, which is striking and grappling the whole time, and rinsing and repeating that method the whole time, right? And that's a nightmare for Figueiredo. Also, Umar Nurmagomedov is durable. He hasn't been knocked out. He hasn't been even rocked, if you will. So the more and more I look about it, the more and more I think it's difficult for Figueiredo to win this fight. But look, he's still a former champion. I think he knows that if he wins here, he definitely will stay top 5 and could still make a run for a title. But I just don't see him getting it. And I think there are more keys to victory for Umar Nurmagomedov. But at the end of the day, Nurmagomedov's last fight was underwhelming. He looked like a shadow version of himself. I think Merab broke him. And I think that in this fight here, Figueiredo can, if there's anything for him to go off on, is to use that style. Merab was also smaller than Umar Nurmagomedov, but I was able to stay on him, utilizing a very good game plan, which is a lot of striking and a lot of grappling. I think Figueiredo's grappling is underrated. I think his jiu-jitsu is also underrated. I think we forget about it because we will talk about his powerful punch and his knockouts, but Figueiredo's also a well-rounded athlete. You don't become a champion just by being a KO specialist when it comes to these smaller divisions. You have to sort of utilize every single discipline to be a very good fighter in the small or the lower weight classes, or the lighter weight classes, I should say, not lower. But again, big fight. Big fight. This fight could have been the featured bout on the main card instead of being the main event on the prelims. But give me your thoughts, guys. Give me your thoughts for who you think gets the job done there. I can't wait for that one. But for now, let's keep looking at other fights on this fight card. That's going to be dope. Atiba Gutierrez taking on Andrei Pulayev. Can't say that I'm excited about that fight just because if there's one thing that I will agree with MMA Guru, and I don't really agree with a lot of the stuff that he says, but if there's one thing I'll agree with MMA Guru, Gutierrez should be getting a higher caliber fighter, in my opinion, in his opinion as well. I agree. I think at this stage in his career, he's gotten, I think, almost six layups already. Let's just look at that for a second. 1, 2, okay, 3 fights. All 3 are layups, in my opinion. Even though I kind of rate Valentin, but Valentin, since winning Ultimate Fighter, hasn't been able to get a win. And he basically made all these guys, all of them, look like they are welterweights, if you will. Not even, maybe even lightweights in comparison to him. So Gutierrez, in my opinion, should be fighting like like a more recognizable name. Someone that's also, what's the other dude's name? Abdul Malik. What about Malik? Let's give him them. That would have been a great fight to watch the two of them go at each other. You'd at least see who is going to be the dude that's going to be the prioritized athlete for the division that's going to climb the rankings, right? And I think there are names in the division. If you go to the rankings, I think there are names in this division that he could take on. I know Joe Pfeiffer is fighting against Israel Adesanya, which I think is a big step up for Joe Pfeiffer. Probably not deserved. It's only because the rest of the division is like that. And I say that because a large portion of it is filled of guys that they're like old now. They kind of need to move on a little bit. If you think about it this way, Whittaker, Cannonier, Michael Venom Page, Delitske, Paulo Costa, Greg Rodriguez, Joe Pfeiffer, not Joe Pfeiffer, but Greg Rodriguez. Like these are older dudes. They're kind of like an older guard, and they could be moving on. They could have given Anthony Hernandez against Easy, in my opinion, instead of Joe Pfeiffer. But again, there's Gregory Rodriguez would have been a very good fight for Gutierrez. I think that would have been a better fight for him, considering that what he's doing. And I think he's worthy of a fight like that at this point. I don't think he should be fighting more cans. Because if he beats Andre Pulaev, what does that mean for Gutierrez? It means absolutely nothing other than another win on his record, 4-fight win streak, 4 KOs, a wonderful marketable tool for him. But it's like, it's not guys that's testing you. You should be fighting guys that could be a test for him. Gregory Rodriguez could be a very good test for him. You know what I mean? That's my opinion for him over there. Nikita Krylov and Modestas Bukauskas as well. That's a good matchup. I think they're fairly even considering where Nikita Krylov is at now in his career. Every time I think he's going to win, he loses. I think maybe he's also a little bit past his best, but I think he should be getting the job done here against Modestas Bukauskas. But again, I'm not too sure. Not too sure how that fight actually plays out. Early prelims, Alex Perez taking on Charles Johnson. That's actually a very good fight. I think that's a very even matchup there. I think both guys are deserving of that matchup because Alex Perez has sort of like progressively has gone down and down and down and down. Where Charles Johnson has like stayed there, but now went back again because he's got some good wins on his name and some good finishes as well. So, yeah, dude, very good fight. Very, very good matchup for the two guys. And I can't wait for that one. Flyweight MMA. Michael Johnson up against Alexander Hernandez. That's also a good fight. I think Hernandez has done well for himself over the last year and got himself back into the win column and got some consistent wins on his side. Michael Johnson is unfortunately at that stage in his career now where he's going to be welcoming sort of up and comers now, and yeah, that's just what we're going to see. I don't really care who wins here, but I'm expecting a good fight to be either guy. Josh Coquette and Denzel Freeman. Don't have any opinion there about that one, so I'll keep it moving. Ricky Tercius and Cameron Smotherman. Ooh, that's a good fight. That's a very good fight. I think someone's going to get finished there. So I'm looking forward to that one there. And then Adam Fugit taking on Tyler Miller. Don't really have an opinion about that one either. But anyway, nonetheless, I think it's a fantastic fight card overall. From top to bottom, I think it's going to be lovely to watch. So to be clear for you guys, the early prelims will start at 12 a.m. 25th of January, South African time. So we're going to be skipping that one. The early prelims will be starting at 2 a.m. So I'll most likely only be coming live for, I'd say, the Umar Nurmagomedov Davison Figueiredo fight, which will most likely be like around 3:30 a.m. 3:30 a.m. I'll probably go live. From that point on, we'll then watch the rest of the fight card. So yeah, that is my time, ladies and gentlemen. If you have made it this far, please like, share, and subscribe. We love all of your support. What you can expect for the remainder of the week, we're going to be coming out tomorrow, which will be the 21st of January. We will be doing our preview of One Fight Night 39, as well as a live 18-man segment where we're going to be doing our parlay. We'll do all our picks for the fight cards for this weekend. On Thursday, we'll be doing our preview for One Friday Fights 139. And then Friday, we'll be live for the Friday Fights 139. Saturday, we'll be live for One Fight Night 39. And then Sunday, we'll be live for UFC 324. So I hope to see all of you guys there. It's a massive, massive week. Triple XP week for us here at Fighting with Friends. We hope to see you guys there. But on that note, again, like, share, and subscribe. Have yourself a fantastic week. From myself and the Fighting with Friends team, we will catch you in the next one. Cheers, everybody. Thank you very, very much.